Good morning, everybody. I want to do a video over in Discord, but I'm just going to post this on YouTube. It's going to be a market overview of SPY, QQ, IWM, and kind of a technical analysis viewpoint, and obviously using some probability outcomes as well. So let's go ahead and start and just take a look at our main chart here for SPY. We are seeing a 20% pullback in the general market. SPY is roughly 10-15%, I believe. Yeah, 14.5% SPY pullback, which is a pullback. It's not necessarily a bear market just yet for SPY. We've had a 40-point swing, basically, close to a 40-point swing, 30 some odd points in 2 days. On increased volume on that first day, decrease on the second day, which is very interesting because that second day, this last Friday, didn't even reach the volume that it had on its way down. That could just be because of the short week. So we got under the 242 and immediately shot up. The last time we were under the 242 was down here in March of 20, which we all know what that is, right? So we got under, shot back up, and then came all the way back down. Once we reclaimed the 242, we entered our bull market, right? So if we can reclaim this without going back under, there's potential that we could go back to 457, which is the obvious next stop, and then before maybe a little retrace, and then back up to all-time highs. As it stands right now, we are pushed up significantly in the last 2 days, obviously, like I said. Looking at a smaller time frame, just the 1 hour, we came in and we're expecting to sweep these lows, which we did. So if you're looking, this was the previous low. We made a new high, a lower low, a new high, a lower low, a lower high, a new low, a lower high, and a new low, and we swept these lows. So we knew that there were orders down here. We knew this was a take profit area. We knew this was a stop loss area. We knew this was a bunch of transactions would happen in this area. And it, right off this pivot, shot up. Now, this doesn't mean that it's going to retrace 100% or 50% or whatever. It doesn't mean that it's going to go back up to 480. It does not mean that. Could it make a lower low and make a higher high and start going? Absolutely. But it could just as likely sweep this low of 410, and we could see 407, 405, 400. So we're not going to try to predict what's going to happen here. We're just analyzing what the data is giving us at this particular time. We are, as it stands right now, 2 up on the day, a green, 2 down on the week, which is a very bullish anticipation. On the month, we are still 2 down red. 3-month quarter, we are near quarter, we are 2 down red, and as well as the year, we are a failed 2 up, right? Or actually, I'm sorry, we're outside on the 3-month. That's my mistake. So this weekly looks promising. Obviously, we've had this similar situation where we popped up, went to 457, and then fell all the way back down. So looking at the weekly chart, we haven't even made a new high yet. Right, we made a new low, but we need to make a new high. So the new high would be sweeping this high right here, 460. So potentially what could happen is we sweep the 460 area and then make a lower low near the 440s. So we could see some more volatility coming in to sweep the high and make a new low, or make a lower low. That's the best case scenario in terms of a bullish sign. Worst case is we bounce off this pivot here and reject and start going down to 405, 407. Again, I say worst case in the sense of bearish, but I'm bearish bias all the time, so it's not really worst case for me. Okay, now let's take a look at QQQ, which will be quite similar, obviously. Um, oops. So QQQ, I don't know why that's pulled up. We saw a divergence on our fear index, right? While QQQ made a new low, this did not. So it's a little bit of a hidden divergence. So same thing here. We are well below the 242 here, though. So QQQ is obviously more has more drawdown than SPY does. So if we're looking here just from the all-time high, we had a 22% pullback, which is technically um, a bear market for QQQ. Can it come back up like it did here and hit the 242 and come back down? Absolutely. It could also just make a nice little round up to 390s again. So we don't know. Let's continue on to looking at the hourly. So we're QQQ is like SPY, a failed to down on the weekly, and it's still red in the month, still red on the 3-month, and obviously it is inside, as you can see here, on the year. Okay, so back to the hourly chart, what we're seeing is kind of a similar situation. We swept these lows. Problem is there's still lows down here we could sweep if we want to come back down. So like we're still, just because we've had this insane 30-point surge, we're still technically in this channel down here, right? We're still looking like this. Okay, it's still a downtrend. It could be forming a new uptrend, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you here just that we do have somewhat of a broadening formation occurring on QQQ on the hourly. So we could potentially see a bounce off the pivot, this pivot, or even all the way up to the top of the channel, or we can just come down, bounce off this one. So knowing how to draw these broadening formations is super important, but that's something we teach in our program. So, or you know, you can do more research. I'm sure there's videos on broadening formations, how to draw them. We draw them a little bit differently than others because it's quite a relative and subjective drawing. It's not at all objective and precise. That's why I say learn from different people just to get the full picture. So potentially in QQQ, we could see a push up into this pivot, which is 366, which is a huge psychological position. We could sweep this high and see a new low. We could just continue the broadening formation. What I personally think is going to happen in the bullish case, if we do get a bullish case, I think we take out these highs of 357. We go to like 350, 360-ish, and then make a lower low, and then try to sweep the pivot, which is 367. So maybe by March, mid-March, that's what we get. In the bearish case, we just continue, we open Monday low and continue downwards. IWM will be similar to QQQ. We technically didn't sweep the low on IWM. We kind of touched it, right here. So we really didn't sweep it, which was interesting to me because SPY and QQQ got swept. And even here, we didn't sweep this high. So this formation, if you want to call it a broadening formation, is a little bit stranger to me because we didn't take this out. So I'm able to draw it like that. But and this is just on the 1 hour, by the way. So on the daily, again, we really didn't we just kind of bounced right off of that demand area, which to find demand, here's just a quick tip. Go to the Heikin-Ashi, look left, draw out, zones where the Heikin-Ashi is very green, large body, small wicks, and then you can drag the sucker all the way over and just get a better idea of where demand is. That's a huge range, obviously, I know, but it gives you a good general idea. Just a quick tip. So back to this. So we bounced off this, area on really low volume. This is relatively high, but in the grand scheme of things, we are still declining in volume. And that could be a good thing. That could be a bullish case because we are obviously in a downtrend. So declining volume in a downtrend could mean we could reverse back up. And we still have the same divergence here on the fear index. Same concept there. um, what I think might happen with IWM is if we draw out here, if we zoom out. Oh, geez Louise. Okay. How far can I zoom out? There we go. Let me get rid of my pivot here. So what I think might happen, and this doesn't mean that it will happen, is, let me just zoom in here because those are really poorly drawn. Okay. We might bounce off of this pivot, try to get into this channel, and come back down. This would be the resistance areas, right? These pivots. I would love to see a bounce off of the lower, before the pivot, this lower line, and continue the bearish side. That's my hope, because we haven't swept these lows. I'd love to see these lows get swept. What's the low here? I mean, 88.09, 87.82. So I guess we swept it by like 10 cents. I mean, if you want to call that a sweep. I don't really call that a sweep. I call that just a mathematical delta of error. So with IWM, we are, again, failed 2 down on the week. We were inside last week, broke down, played it all the way down, and now are looking to go long if we break above the high of this past week. Monthly was a failed 2 down, and it's green now, so this is still bullish. On the year, I believe we are out, or no, we are failed 2 down so far. Almost 50% retracement on this too. I'm not talking about the 50% rule. I'm talking about a pure retracement. So if this gets up to 207, we could start seeing more bullish power come back in and maybe even flip to a green on the year. Maybe you don't know. It could happen. So multiple scenarios could pan out here. We just don't know which one is which one to look for. What we do is react to price. If it goes bullish, we react and play bullish. If it's bearish, we react and play bearish. So I hope this was helpful. I can do more stocks, like I see Amazon here is below in a possible bounce area and failed 2 down, so we could see a 2 up move and maybe sweep this high of 200 more points, 280 more points, or actually that's almost exactly 200 points. So things like that. If you guys want to see more of these videos, let me know down below because I can make them. I enjoy making them. If you guys want more charting analysis on different tickers, you can drop them below and I'll add them to next week's video, or maybe I'll do this every day. Yeah, I really don't know. Just let me know down below. Thanks, guys.